So, as we all know, in the world of the Santa Claus, once Santa Claus falls off the roof, whoever puts on the coat becomes Santa Claus.
Wait. So that means if you kill someone, you get their job?
It's a bit of an oversimplification, but
Elijah,
basically,
put that down. What are you? Ow, my face! Ow!
yeah,
Ow!
he's
Elijah! Ow! Elijah, put it down!
now
Oh!
he's
Hey everyone, welcome back to TV Guys, the show that we believe in Santa Claus, but we prefer if Santa Claus believed in himself. I'm Matt.
I'm Brian.
I'm Elijah.
And we are in Christmas season. I know we just had Christmas. By the time you've heard this, it's like that fun time in between Christmas and New Year's where it's like, all right, Christmas is over. Now what? Well, we got New Year's. Well, New Year's isn't as fun. So it's like that weird ambiguous time. And also for parents who have their kids at home all the time, right, Elijah? You love being home.
Yes, sir. I hate school.
You hate school.
It's terrible.
The voice of our listeners.
It's terrible.
They understand.
Yes.
Well, we have a first-time guest, obviously. My son Elijah is here, and he is going to talk to us about this new TV show, The Santa Clauses. So, Elijah, just so that we can kind of get a good idea of you and how you work, I'm still trying to figure that out. What are some shows that you watch that you really like?
I like my top favorite is the Santa Clauses, but my second would be like Oddballs. I watch like this YouTuber and he's really good with art, and he basically turned all his videos into like a TV show kind of.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
He also watches a lot of Big City Green. I thought that's what you were
yeah,
bring up.
that's good too.
Yeah, and South Park. No, not really. He's only 11.
What the?
He's like, what the?
I would say, based on what I know about you, I don't think you would let your kids watch South Park.
I make them watch South Park.
No,
that
you
and
don't.
Rick and Morty, Game of Thrones.
You're just being called out.
Way to just play it straight. Now everyone's like, I don't know if he's a bad parent or not. No, they already know I am a bad one. So
on Thursday or last Sunday, we had my family over to celebrate Charlie's birthday, and we were debating whether or not that Kayla, who's 12, about to be 13, is old enough to watch The Office. And I was under the impression that it's not that bad for that age. But Laura's like, I think we have different definitions of what's bad or not.
Bull crap! And then you just start like swearing at her.
Well, I mean, basically what I said was that The Office is not nearly as inappropriate as other shows.
The Office isn't as inappropriate as your husband is. Just throw that one out. Let's see how that flies.
We should probably get on topic before we get off topic.
Yeah, we usually do, but just today we're starting off on the outskirts, and we're going to see if we can bring it in. Yeah. I figured we could try something new this time. See? I don't know what that laugh was, but this is what happens when you have an 11-year-old on your podcast. This is like Ira and the Douche, except for like instead of like those sound effects that they have, we just have Elijah just making different noises just to see. There it is.
And this is not sound bites. This is live on the fly.
This is happening right now. Well, Elijah, so the show we were talking about obviously is the Santa Clauses. The I guess you could call it a reboot of the old movies from the 90s and early aughts. Starring Tim Allen, and he reprises the role after 20-some years since the last one. And so, Elijah, you said that was your favorite show. Maybe you just said that because you knew we were talking about it and you felt like maybe you had to talk it up. But since you liked it, what did you like about the Santa Clauses?
Like, it took a twist here and there. Like, at the first 4 episodes, I thought that Bernard would never show up. But then the 5th episode, I was just like, what the?
So you like that Bernard was in it?
But yeah. I don't like that he wasn't in there for too long.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's only 6 episodes, so it's like Bernard's gone for 4 of them. I knew that he was going to be popping up because I had heard the casting rumor about it like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And that was, to me, see, this is the problem with this show, is that it did catch traction once he showed up. But again, was on episode 5. Like, sure, his hands at the end of episode 4, but he shows up in episode 5. And episode 5 was actually a really good episode. It was like
That the one with all the
through
the
4.
Yule verse.
Yes,
Yeah, that was a good one.
that was definitely the best episode of the show.
Mm-hmm.
No. The 6th episode was like the A Christmas to Remember. That is probably A Christmas to Remember.
True, saving Christmas for good.
Yeah.
So, Brian, did you like it, or what was your overall feelings about Santa Clauses?
I didn't love it, but I didn't dislike it. So I say, yeah, I liked it, but I didn't love it. I think, like I said, I think the pacing of it could have been done differently, and it's just I feel like the redemption arc for Cal Penn's character, what happened, like he was like such a villain, and like last minute he's like, okay, I'm a good guy now.
Yeah, I mean his whole arc kind of sucked because it's like it was 3 episodes. Like you had the 2 episodes of kind of setup of him and like what was going on with his company, and then like episodes 3 and 4 were him slowly getting the reins of Santa Claus and like Tim Allen deciding, oh yeah, I should pass it on to you. And then 5 and 6 was it went to his head and went crazy with a very last minute like, no wait, you're fine. And it just. See, this is what I didn't like about Santa Claus is it felt like they reused ideas from the sequels, but they didn't do it. They did it differently, but not well. Like, sure, the sequels weren't my top. I know there's some people that they love the sequels. I'm not one of those. But like they used there's a new Santa taking over all of the North Pole with Cal Penn, like right out of Santa Claus 2. And they even used those same tin soldiers at a certain point from Santa Claus 2.
Okay, that was a big surprise.
I like that callback.
Yes.
And even earlier they said something about cloning, and someone's like, yeah, because they worked so well the last time.
Yeah, they made good references. And then they also the whole idea of Santa retiring and him being a little jaded by it. They did that at the beginning or through half of Santa Claus 3. Like that's the whole idea of the conflict of there is that Santa Claus even then was feeling like, oh, maybe I should have never done this.
Yeah.
And so it kind of felt like this series undercut the ideas of the sequels by trying to do them again without really having too much of a fresh approach.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like it. I'm sorry. I know you loved it, Elijah, and I know you tolerated it, Brian. I don't think I liked it apart from episode 5.
But I think with different pacing, it could have been good. I liked the different elf characters. I mean, even though he was dumb, I like the grouchy security elf. I liked him. He was funny. I like it. They could have used more of him.
Oh yeah.
The one elf who's just all like anxious. What's his name? The black elf who's one of the main characters.
I love how you're like trying to figure out a different way to describe him, and all that was there is like the black elf. Oh yeah, no, we all know.
Yeah,
Noel. See, he's got
yes,
it.
that's what I meant. The Noel elf. He got to be a little bit much.
Yeah, I agree.
I liked his wife though. That she's like the stickler who kind of like eventually realizes Scott Santa was the best Santa.
Yeah. I think that was a solid character of his wife in that. I think she was. You're right that Noel was much because it's hard to do fanatic well. You know, a lot of these elf characters, they just kind of felt like Disney Channel original movie characters. Like that's as deep as their writing goes. And so I don't know, the whole thing just kind of felt a little cheap, unfortunately, to me. So which character, Elisha, did you like the best? I'm glad we're not live.
Oh, I like the one, or whatever his name is, like the one guard elf. Like I love it when he's just like, oh, there's no I in team, and he's just like, and there's no you in tomorrow.
That's a good line, actually.
That was a good line.
I feel like the show is at its best with some of those little one-liners because like that's where Tim Allen does really well. Tim Allen constantly has these like quips in his back pocket that he does really well. And there's only a certain amount probably that you can do, but like there's a lot of like Tim Allen lines that are like that's a really good line. I really like that. And I'm sadly not able to think of any right now because the last time I watched it was like a week ago. But I mean, even in that Yuleverse one, there's like 2 or 3 that I'm like, that is a great line. And
well, one Mrs. Claus line I liked from Elizabeth Mitchell was when he's talking about all the different Santa Clauses, and she was like, wait, does that mean I'm the first Mrs. Claus? And he's like, oh, I didn't ask. And she's like, of course you didn't.
That's a nice way to lampshade that, but to also indicate this is the other thing that this show did is it gave voice to some of the, as I like to call it, the fridge logic. I don't know if I'm the one who likes to call it that, or like that's the trope, but it's like that stuff that you think of later after you watch it, like, oh, that was a good movie, and then you start thinking about it later. I'm like, wait, that's a plot hole.
Yeah.
So like the whole idea of all no elves were like surprised to see Tim Allen in the first one, and they weren't like mourning this other Santa that they've known. Like that is a little dark when you think about it. Like, do they just not care when I get killed off and they just roll with the punches?
Well, I saw a clip where like Tim Allen himself thought that was weird. I think that was one of the things that he went in wanting to address.
Yeah, and they definitely did.
Yeah. And I think it's like they say that his kids got some of his powers because they're got the Santa DNA. Did we know that Santa could talk to animals? I don't remember that being part of the lore.
Well, I mean, you look at the first movie, and he has a lot of back and forth with Comet, but he doesn't hear Comet talk. But Comet is the one that really like understands what he's saying, and will like when he's growling, and it's like, "Are you growling at me?" And then he shakes his head, yes. Like so, Santa does talk with him, and they understand him. We just have never heard it the other way around, like the Dr. Dolittle sort of power.
Okay.
So
for me, it's like the original Santa Claus was such like a groundbreaking idea, and it's just such ingrained as one of like the '90s childhood movies. So Matt, you and I were 6 when that movie came out, and so it's like ingrained for me as like along with like Home Alone or like those classic childhood Christmas movies or Muppet Christmas Carol. Whereas the sequels that came later, you said earlier, it kind of sounds like they kind of felt like the decom version of a sequel, like the Disney Channel original movie, instead of like a proper Christmas movie, which is what the original felt like.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that they're bad. They all have their moments, and this has their moments too.
Yeah. For me, like you see it in the writing of the first one, because the first one has this really smart metaphor of having Scott Calvin as this, he's a dad, but he is trying, but at the same time, there's a certain level of inattention that he has to his son, and like kind of washing away, like not really believing it and not listening to his son. But that like the son believing for his dad, to the metaphor being that the son believing in his dad being Santa is the same as a son believing in a father to do better and to be a better man. And so that thread is really, really strong in the first one. And like, that's what brings it down. Like that brings it back to reality, because it's like, there's a lot of dads out there that are the men they are because of their kids. And so I'm one of those men.
No, you're not.
just shoots it down out of the gate. Like, no, you're not. Thanks, buddy. See, I have kids that don't believe in me, and I have to overcome that. So,
you also got to remember, like Tim Allen was one of like the guys in the '90s. Get Home Improvement, The Santa Claus, Toy Story, Jungle to Jungle, Joe Somebody. Like he was all over the '90s. He was like an A-list star at the time.
Oh yeah,
he's still famous, but he's definitely not nearly like Last Man Standing was no Home Improvement as far as popularity.
The best '90s movie was Jurassic Park.
That is a good one.
That's top tier for sure. That's in my top 10, Jurassic Park.
It's got to be, yes.
What?
You said it was a top 10. It needs to be top 2 or something.
Yeah, top 2.
I mean, it's a flawless movie. Okay, it's pretty much a flawless movie. The flaws that it has are like Spielberg, like, you know what? Forget about this. This looks cool. Like the whole the T-Rex walks out of his cave or out of his cage area, like that it's level on ground, but then when the Jeep gets pushed into it, suddenly there's a cliff. I think Spielberg's like, you know what, this looks cool, so we're gonna go with it.
I vaguely remember, if maybe not the first time, but one of the first times I saw Jurassic Park that I can remember was at Wilbur's house, and I remember him at the very beginning saying, "Yep, black guys gotta die first."
Did the guy die though? Like he gets dragged at.
Pretty sure he did. He got dragged into the cage or into like the crate.
He got ate by a velociraptor, and they find his hand, and then soon find his body.
I thought that the scene right after when the lawyer shows up that they made reference of like the family was suing, but like that he didn't die. I thought that maybe there was just he was hospitalized because of course he gets attacked, and that they had shot the raptor before he died. I don't know.
I'll have to go back and rewatch the scene.
Either way, Samuel L. Jackson dies as well, so it's like the black guys of the movie die. So
That's true. That's true. Although he wasn't the only one. You still got Wayne Knight and the Velociraptor hunter and the lawyer.
Yep. So, in my opinion, when I'm watching that movie and it's like, who's the first to die? My mind always jumps to the lawyer, David Gennaro.
Who's David Gennaro?
He was the guy who died on the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He died by the T-Rex.
Yep. So that's what
the T-Rex just opened and just took the thing off, and he's just like, so I'm going to eat you now. Is that okay?
So the lesson that we've learned from Jurassic Park is if you're in charge of kids and they're in danger and you leave them to go to the bathroom, you will die. That is how it works.
Yep. So
we're talking about Santa Claus.
Yes, back to the Santa Claus.
Yeah, you got off topic, I'm pretty sure, a few times.
Why are you throwing this at us, Mr. Oh, by the way, the 90s Jurassic Park? You introduced the rabbit trail.
Yeah,
sir.
but guess what? I'm sorry, but you're the ones that follow the path.
So
look at this guy.
So Elijah, I got to ask, and you can be honest, have you ever listened to our podcast before?
I searched your guys' up on YouTube, and I was just like, these seem boring.
I don't think we're on YouTube.
He's looking at different guys, and he's just imagining they're us. Is like, these guys are good, but if they're this bad, then Matt and Brian are definitely worse.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Isn't there another guy?
A nutter?
Like a guy with a do.
A die with a do. Yep. This is it. Yeah, no, I had the other podcast, The Movies on a Monday, with Terrence.
Achoo!
What do you do? What are these words that you're coming up with? This podcast, if we had like a pie chart, would be like 20% you just making noises and us just trying to figure out what do we do with those.
You know what? I don't hate it.
It's not a bad dynamic we've struck. You're right. There it is.
Yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to having you back, Elijah.
There you go. All right. So Elijah, with the original movie though, like jumping back into it before we talk again about the TV show.
Yeah.
What did you like about the original Santa Claus, or did you like the original movie?
Because like my favorite part of that movie is when he goes into the thing and he orders a lot of stuff and everybody's just looking at him silently.
Oh,
what?
In the business meeting?
Remember he goes to the business meeting.
Oh,
and
that's
a crap ton
right.
of food.
Yeah, and Peter
he
Boyle's
orders
like,
a bunch of
"What's wrong with you?"
sweets. Yeah.
Everybody and wait, doesn't one of them kick him out?
They pretty much after that, but that's after when they're giving the pitch and he's like, "No, Santa," and like defending Santa and doesn't want him selling a tank and
Yeah.
Yeah,
that.
why would Santa drive in a tank?
Exactly.
Because you can
Well,
sell
isn't
toys.
that a pretty picture? Santa driving down the street in a Panzer.
Shoot the houses, demolish them. Demolish the kids. They don't get presents.
That's it.
Instead of coal, you get blown.
See,
That's what I like about-
that's pretty. What?
That's what I like about the original movie. It's set in like a realistic world. Like when he starts becoming Santa, he gets like the what? And like he and like the mom and what's his name, Neil. They were like really concerned about his influence on Charlie because he keeps talking about Santa Claus, and it's like everyone is basically treating it like he's having a mental breakdown because they're living in the real world where some people might not believe in Santa Claus. Whereas the sequels in this movie are like, yeah, everything's magical. Santa Claus is all here all the time. Why wouldn't you believe in him?
Yeah, and I get that they'd have to go that way with the sequel. Like when you expand the mythology of it, you have to get into it because like the first one, they make a reference when he's in that room in the North Pole for the first time, and he like looks out and sees the North Pole. He's like, "Is that a polar bear directing traffic?" Now, in like these sequels, if they're gonna draw attention to it, then they would like CGI some polar bear like holding up some crossing guard stuff.
Yeah.
But they just make allusion to it because they're like, let's keep a degree of realism in it. Plus, I mean, at the same time, how they did CGI was expensive back then. Still.
What the heck? Why would a polar bear be doing that when they have literally everywhere to walk?
You know, I could ask them. Uh, when I see Tim Allen next, I'll ask him.
Yeah.
If you see a polar bear next, don't ask him. He's gonna bite your face off.
True
Yes.
story.
And guess what? I won't be the one to find you.
I don't know what to do with your input. This dynamic is throwing me off.
I love it. I love it.
I did like the callback too, though. Like, I think it was the first episode when Mrs. Claus was talking about like the puppet show. Like,
Oh yeah.
it took me so long to get that puppet show out of there. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Was that in the second one?
It was no, that was in the first. Like, that was right away in the first one. Like when he's in that room and then he like takes off his pants and like and then he pulls his pants right back up.
Oh yeah.
Because they had the puppet show in his bedroom for some reason.
Yeah. You know what I wish they never brought back ever since the first one was Judy the elf, the one who brought him the hot cocoa. You know, they brought back Bernard. They never brought back Judy.
She was in the second one, I thought.
It was? Oh.
I was pretty sure that she was in the second one, but in a more diminished role. And especially because like you can tell she looked a little older. But yeah, I'm sure by the third one they're like, no, we can't. That's the problem with like these elves staying the same age and why they had to create this out for Bernard.
Mm-hmm. I won't bring it up. Yep, the comment I was going to bring up. You know what I'm talking about.
And actually, I'm pretty sure they replaced the one girl elf with Betty, and then Bernard with Noel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because they had the Spencer Breslin character for episodes 2 and 3, the sequel, but he wasn't as popular.
No, he wasn't. And you know, they even had to explain why Bernard looked older because when he left the elf world and he started aging.
Yeah. Hey, can we talk about Jerry Gergich Santa for a second?
Yeah. Yes.
Because how is that a perfect casting for a Santa? Okay, that's it. That's all I have.
No, like, he has a little bit of like the Jerry optimism, but also just a little bit of cynicism poured in to be perfect. He's like, you know how many roofs I've been on? I didn't fall off a roof by accident.
which like opens up the door for. I like that they did that where it's like, no, this was an intentional handoff, and that then it creates like he's the first human, and it kind of helps to rewrite a little bit of that. You can maybe call it plot hole. I don't know how you define it, but yeah.
So, like, he thinks that Santa Claus fell off, like, by accident, when he actually fell off on purpose, and he's just, like, trying to go along with he's trying to go along with saying that the Santa Claus saying he's been on so many roofs he wouldn't just fall off on accident.
Yeah.
And then Scott Calvin had to go with...
Did you say Scott Coffin? Because that's the guy from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Scott
Calvin.
Scott Coffin, yeah.
I'm just kidding around, buddy. So like that whole mythology idea, it's hard for me to remember. Did they, when they were talking about this, did they answer like where this Santa Claus went? Like I know there's in the Yuleverse, but like
I don't think so. Which unless I could rewatch again, but that's not the question. Like, did he just like willingly go into the afterlife then, or does he need an afterlife because they were like an ether being to begin with?
Or is the Yuleverse just pretty much retirement? Is that what that is? Like they retire in the Yuleverse, or is that like Valhalla? Or it's like the Santas die in glorious combat and then they go to this Santa heaven?
I don't know. It's a lot of questions.
It is a lot of questions. I feel like this show opened the door for more questions than it did answer questions. It's like, here's some answers. Like, wait a second. Nope. Now there's a million more things that I want to know about this.
And like, I thought it was kind of cool that just for like the one little scene they brought back Charlie for this, which means that now him and Tim Allen are the only two to be in all three movies and the show.
Yep, because Peter Boyle was dead, so he couldn't make it.
And they didn't bring back his mom or Neil, who are the other two who were in all three movies.
Peter Boyle.
Yep. Peter Boyle was his boss in the first one, and then he was Father Time in 2 and 3.
What?
Yeah.
Remember his boss who was bald at the job? He was the one who was like who had like kicked him out of the meeting. you were talking about when he was
Yeah.
ordering everything. So he was in the first one as his boss, but in the second and the third one, he ends up playing Father Time.
Who's Father Time? Like
Peter Boyle. Peter Boyle.
yeah, but no, like what's his Father Time up here?
He was
when
more
they
like
have like the council of like the Easter Bunny and Tooth
Mother
Fairy
Nature and all that.
stuff.
Yeah,
Mother Nature.
Yeah. Who is he?
he's just an old man who seems to be in charge of some of the stuff.
I have no idea what you guys are saying.
He's like
It
I don't know-
overwhelms me.
he looks like Dumbledore.
Yeah. Super long beard. Father Time is just like another mythical creature.
Yeah, that dude with the long beard, and then he's holding the staff,
That's the one. Yeah.
and then he has the robe.
He's got the
So-
wobe.
He's got
So
the
is-
robe.
It was him,
Okay, chill. You
Tim
know,
Allen,
act like a child.
him, obviously Tim Allen, Charlie, and then Charlie's mom and Neil were the only 5 who were in all 3 of the movies. But then his mom, Neil, and Peter Boyle weren't in the show, so it's just Charlie and Tim Allen who were in everything.
I wouldn't have mind seeing some more Judge Reinhold.
Yeah, I liked them. I liked how by the sequels they were just like cool with him, and there wasn't any conflict.
Yeah.
And he still wore all the sweaters.
Even if Scott continued to make fun of Neil, like that was some of my favorite stuff too. Like the comments he had about Neil. I know that like people when they look back at this, like man, he was a jerk for that. It's like yeah, in real life he'd be a jerk, but remember this is Movie Land, and it's fun to see that sort of humor pointed at someone when he doesn't, he's not a real person. It's not really hurting someone's feelings.
Also, I saw a thing lately when it said that Judge Reinhold in the first movie was only 37. Which makes me feel old because I'm not there yet, but I'm not too far off.
Yeah, he does. He seems a lot older than that, but I like how you say only 37. Whereas like Elijah, we say someone's 37. He's just like, dude, this is like close to death.
I'm 37. You're about to die.
He says that to people.
No, I don't.
His uncle and aunt just turned 40 this year, and he gave them a funeral plot for the birthday. So.
No, I didn't. Oh yeah, I totally wrote in a book. Oh, here's your funeral plot. There you go. I will catch you at your funeral. Like,
so now no more interaction with them till they die.
no more interaction. I'll just see you at your funeral.
When you turn 40, the clock's done. You're dead to me. So
I'm sorry, but I'll see you at your funeral in about 5 days.
Well, you know what,
There you
Matt?
go.
When I turn 40, you're only like 2 weeks behind me.
that's true. So I'll only have 2 weeks of ignoring you. Just a 2-week shun.
Dad, when you get to 40, I will be preparing your funeral.
You got a lot of lip.
It's funny. So my mom hates being the center of attention, but we got her to agree that if she lives to be 100 on her 100th birthday, we can throw a huge, big bash for her. And the beauty part of it is, we won't have to pay for it because Laura's oldest will be like in her 40s. So like we can just make the grandkids pay for it.
Nice. Yeah.
What?
And then you can send her
That
out.
is rude.
You can send her out on an ice float at the end of it.
I'll come
Yeah,
and
that's the
beat you
plan.
with a bat. I'll come and beat you with a bat. I'll stick some nails to it.
This is the household. This is what I live with every day.
And that's only one of them.
That's the only one.
Are the other ones nicer?
No, Jack is literally going to murder somebody.
Yeah, and then Miles for Christmas asked for brass knuckles.
No, Miles is 4. Why would he ask a 5 or something?
You don't even know. He's 5. I don't know. He's
no.
either 4 or like 12.
If someone was gonna try and murder, buy a murder weapon, it would be Jack. He'd probably buy a pistol, brass knuckles. He'd buy all the illegal items.
Why
He'd
would you
buy
need
a
both?
submachine.
Like in case you need to shoot him and then punch him with brass knuckles, like as a follow up,
Oh, he would buy a chainsaw.
and then a chainsaw. There you go.
Are you guys in the closet hiding? Is that why you're in there?
We are. That's why I record in here.
Oh,
You got to
yeah.
lay low for a
Wait.
little bit.
I think I hear Jack.
You're just making more noises.
There's even more.
I hear Jack.
The
He's
pie
outside
graph.
the door.
The pie graph has now gotten to 30% of noises.
No, I hear Jack. He's literally outside the door. He's
So
got
the Santa
chainsaw.
Clauses.
Yes.
This, I mean, let's be fair. This is what we expected when we brought an 11-year-old onto the show. I 0%
You need to
surprised.
bring me the rest of the time.
So I did a movies on a Monday episode with one of Terrence's daughters, and she was like around 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was much more subdued.
What?
So
I
I
think I
guess that
listened to
makes
that
sense.
one. Was that
What
one
does
you
that
were
mean?
talking about Marvel, right?
No, we're talking about Mitchell's versus Machines.
Wait, what the?
But we did like talk briefly about Marvel. in
Because
that
remember,
episode.
she
Wait a
said that she
minute.
knew who Kevin Feige was, and you guys were surprised.
That's true. That was impressive.
Yes.
Elijah doesn't know who Kevin Feige is, but that's okay.
Who the heck is that?
He's an executive producer for Marvel movies.
Nice.
And okay, like, I've never really dove into the DC universe. All I know now is everyone's posting about how I guess James Gunn is firing everybody.
He's like, you all fired me for my tweets. Now it's the shoes on the other foot. Fire all of you. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I don't know if anyone knows what's gonna happen with it. It's like this is the 11th time that they've tried to get a DC extended universe off the ground now. I don't.
Well, didn't they have one? And then why are they not going with it?
No, they keep rechanging things. They keep reshifting it. They have no idea really what they're gonna land on. Like the Batman movie that came out this year was supposed to be a Ben Affleck Batman beginning one, and then they're like, all right, we're just gonna do our own. They did like Joker's, like we're not even gonna be a part of DC extended universe. They did a Suicide Squad reboot because they're like, okay, this will be what we really use to launch us back in. Flash was supposed to be like this multiverse launching point, and maybe still is. I don't know. And Black Adam was supposed to be another one where they're gonna be like, okay, let's rejuvenate the hope and all this. So,
Okay, let's get back on track.
Yes, let's get back on track.
fine, Elijah.
I don't know if you
what would
guys
you
have
like
anything
to talk
else. Do you guys have anything else before we get to trivia?
I'm sorry, what was that? Elmer Fudd? No, Porky Pig. That's all, folks.
Dad, you need to get back on track of talking about the Santa Claus.
I have nothing else to say. Just slap me.
You don't?
Finally, a live slap
Anything
happened.
else to
I've been
say?
trying to get that going for like a year. Remember that?
You have. Who knew that all you had to do was bring my son on it
Oh, yeah.
for me to get slapped?
We were playing the Jackbox game, and when we were playing like this T-shirt battle game, my dad drew an elephant shooting a gun, and I'm pretty sure it was Jack who wrote a dialogue saying, "Can you keep a secret?" and then put it on, put that picture with that dialogue.
Yep. That happened.
So
Sure did.
That's all the context you get.
So can
Yep.
you keep a secret?
Just another slap in the face. Hey guys, so if you're like wondering, should I have kids? This is the life that you find yourself in. But to be fair, this is a little version of me, so you'll have a little version of you, and that might be even worse. I don't know.
Now I'm going to stab you with a pair of scissors.
All right. So, hey, but with Santa Clauses, what would you give it, Elijah, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like the greatest show you've ever watched, 1 being like, don't even watch this is garbage? Where would you put it?
Like a solid 6.5.
6.5. You did say at the beginning of the episode it was the best show you've ever watched. So you
I
just
didn't say it's the best show I've ever watched.
said it was your top show.
You said it was your
That's
number
okay.
one.
You said number 1.
I
That's
said
what
it's
it
my
is.
number 2.
No, you said number 1. Then number 2 was that YouTube one with those guys.
Blah,
Brian, what about
blah.
you? 1 to 10.
3.7.
You idiot!
I would probably put it at a 4. I thought you would have it higher than me, but yeah, I'd probably put it at a 4. Like,
Since I can smack you, I will.
there's a lot worse that this could have been. But there's also a lot better that could have been. Oh, other thing I keep thinking about, or kept thinking about every time I watch an episode, the like 20-second little intro song or whatever is the creepiest thing ever.
Yes.
Who came up with that?
Yeah.
Wait, what? What intro?
The little intro that it always has is him like eating a marshmallow, and then like one of these reindeer like doing like this whole face,
And then it shows
like the,
Tim Allen, it shows Noel. Yeah.
yeah, it's such a weird, and then like the raining Santas at the end.
And then the dun dun dun.
Yeah, I don't get it. Whoever came up with that is terrible. All right, so that is all we got about Santa Claus. Anything else that you wanted to add, Elijah?
Nobody likes this dude right there.
That's not very nice to say about Brian. We
No.
We save that
You,
for
Dad,
when we're not
no,
talking
you,
to him.
Dad, you.
We say this behind his back. That's the polite thing to do.
No, it's not. Dad, I'm talking about you.
You are talking to me. Thank you. Brian, anything else you wanted to add about Santa Clauses?
No, I'm good. I'm good to jump into trivia if you are.
Okay, I'm gonna steal his job real quick.
Stop hitting me.
I'm gonna kill you so that I get your job.
This is half of my day is
You get
getting
paid.
hit.
You get paid a lot, so I'm gonna get paid a lot.
I get paid nothing for this.
So you
This is
you
all
get
free.
paid?
No, you get paid for your job to work on the thing.
To work on the thing?
Yeah,
Yes, my job, my career.
and I'll
I
be
get paid to do that.
taking your monitors too.
Okay, sounds good. All right, trivia. So last week, we talked about also Santa Clauses. We talked about which characters would be good Santa Clauses if you stole them, put them in a Santa Claus situation. One of them we talked about that I brought up was main character from Abbott Elementary, and so we asked trivia about Abbott Elementary. That where did the name for Abbott Elementary come from? And it comes from Quinta, I think that's her name, the writer and creator and star of it, Quinta. I can't remember what her last name is. Hang on, I pulled it up. Quinta Brunson. That when she was young, she had a teacher that was just like the character that she plays on Abbott Elementary, the one who like really cared about students. So she named this show after a teacher that was really inspirational for her and that inspired her on that show. So,
Life.
So this week for trivia, I had there are two actors on the show who are related in real life from the Santa Claus. So who are the two related characters on the Santa Clauses?
I know this one because I wasn't sure how I would ask that either. I'm like, that could be a fun trivia. So
Noel
there you
and
go.
Betty.
Noel and Betty. So they're playing husband and wife, but they're related. Gross.
They're the opposite happened once with Lauren Graham and her brother. The kid they played brother and sister on Parenthood. They were dating in real life.
Boom.
Wait, what? Noel and Betty are dating?
No,
On a different show.
completely different show.
Noel and Betty are dating?
You just stick with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Elijah, thank you for being on this show. As
And
much
I'm
as I
coming
teased
next
you,
week.
and you're coming next week. As much as I teased you, and as much as you slapped me, I still had fun with you on the show.
And as much as I banged your head on the desk.
Yeah, I need to go rest and calm down the head trauma that I have. Next week we are talking about shows from 2022. So we're going to give you what are some of our best shows from 2022. There are actually some really great shows this year, whether they were the first season of a show or they were another season, continuing season. There was some really good content that came out this year. So Brian and I are going to talk about it and let you know the things that you might have missed or that you did catch and you just wanted us to hear us talk about. So that's next week. Until then, have a great New Year's. Stick to your New Year's resolutions. Don't give them up by the end of January. Just wait an extra month and give it up in February. But until next time, I'm Matt.
I'm Brian.
I'm Elijah.
And we're reminding you to stay tuned and keep watching.
I'm going to keep on banging his head on desks.